Paul, is this the right move for Stafford and the Rams?
Absolutely. I mean, he gets the chance to stay with McVay, who he's won a Super Bowl with. It was the only move in my eyes. I know we toyed with him going to different places. But the Rams, think about this. The Rams with Stafford was the only one to challenge Philadelphia. They came the closest. I mean, pretty much everybody else was dusted. But, like, you know, I feel like with McVay and Stafford, you give them a couple more pieces, they'll be contenders and right back at it again. And I know they played in a tough, terrible division, the Niners and Seattle and all these guys, but I think they'll be better with Stafford in the long run. You can build around Bucher. I think they need help at wide receiver. They could slide a Debo in there or something, add him, maybe find some way. We're dreaming. This is the offseason, so we can dream. If they can get Myles Garrett to L.A., who knows? They'll be right back in contention.
Yeah, no, I like it. You know, we talked about it yesterday about possibly the Raiders coming in the mix, and obviously we're going to chase those stories, but all along, like, this is the right fit. I mean, outside of Mahomes and Andy Reid, like, this is the best two quarterback coach and quarterback combination, you know, in all the NFL. So this makes the most sense. You could just tell hearing the interview with Sean McVay, like, he wanted Stafford there, so he was just letting him look around, do his thing, but at the end of the day, it just made the most sense for him to stay right where he is.
Yeah, I don't even like using the word he's returning. He never left. Right? And I never thought that he was going to.
He was flirting.
I saw that, too, on the X. I was like,
that was all leveraging and negotiation and just doing it in the public.
Go have fun, but then we're going to get this deal done.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Go out, have a good weekend.
That's what I did. I used to do that with my girlfriend. She started acting up. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go out here and flirt. Oh, you want me back? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty
You're talking right now. You're talking right now.
Oh, my God.
That's exactly what that was.
Hey, take Paul's cup away. Take Paul's cup away.
There's why that conversations we had last night, because of what you just said. Look, absolutely the right move. He was never going anywhere. I said it all along. I'm like, look, dude just got a house. He ain't going nowhere. House tells you everything. Not only that, you know this, Will. The best spot is the spot you already at.
Right.
That's the best spot. Even though people tend to want to take a look around, yeah, it's cool. Okay, I go out to Montana and I meet with the terrific Tom Brady. I got the permission to do that, so we did it. I'm not going to, it's like telling the president of the United States to a degree, I don't want to meet with you no matter what the situation is. You don't do that to Tom Brady. You're going to go meet with Tom, even though you already know that you staying home and you're going to eat the food at home. You ain't going somewhere else to eat the food. That's just the reality of it.
You got to get that threat, though. Just so everybody can straighten the threat of it. When you see other people, that's a threat.
But here's what I would say. It was never a threat. Sean McVay knew that. Sean McVay just going to let you. I tell you what, Matt, I love you to death. You and I have made great music together. Go ahead and you could go see what the market value is.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with exploring your options and then realizing the best option I have is exactly where I am. If anything, it confirms, you know what, I've checked out everything else and I don't have anything better than what I have right here. And then you come back with a greater appreciation. You feel like you've checked all the boxes. You're not leaving anything undone. So I totally understand why both sides approached it the way that they did. But let's also look at what his other options were. What were they? Where was he going to go that he had a better situation? I think you brought up Minnesota at one point.
Paul brought up
Minnesota. But even
that was just if Sam Darnold, they didn't retain him.
Okay, but even so, Minneapolis, L.A., Rams, Vikings. To me,
but the thing is, too, put this in consideration. Like, yeah, two different cities. If the money was significantly better over there,
but it wasn't going to be.
But I know. But I'm saying
it wasn't going to be significantly better nowhere, Paul.
Because it's a reason like Paul George went to Philly and didn't stay in L.A. Because what?
It was significantly better.
Yeah, exactly. So he didn't get an opportunity to explore that because he didn't wait out to see what was going to happen with Sam Darnold. He didn't wait it out long enough.
Yeah,
but the money that he was getting in L.A. was enough for him to say, all right, I'm good with this.
I mean, he got a bag from L.A.
Yeah, but he probably could have got like another $10 million, but that's not significant.
Right? Yeah, but why am I
everything you go through changing places and the unknowns that you face?
He met with Tom to probably get some equity in the Raiders, man. That's probably why they met in Montana.
No, you're going to meet with Tom Brady, though. You're
going to take that meeting. You take that
It
meeting.
would have been more money for the Raiders. Even that extra $10 million would have been like another extra 10 to 20 because of taxes.
You love them taxes. Paul,
Because you ain't going to get that tax in Las Vegas that you're getting in California.
No, you ain't getting no tax in Vegas. It's zero tax.
That's what I'm saying.
But at the same time, you also are getting a team that you have no idea what they're going to be.
Right.
You know what the Rams are going to be.
Yeah.
You said it, Paul, that there's, one or two, three pieces here or there. They could be right back in contention again next year.
You're not learning a new offense.
You got to learn a new offense.
Yeah.
Chip Kelly. And he's not necessarily, and Chip Kelly's a great offensive mind, but Chip Kelly has he has to tailor his offensive mind to his skill set, to Matthew Stafford's skill set. Traditionally, everybody that Chip Kelly's had at the quarterback position can all move around, from college and into the pros. He's never just had a guy that sits in the pocket and throws a football all over the place. So now he has to learn how to tailor the offense toward Matthew Stafford when Sean McVay already knows what to do with it. The right move was for Stafford to say, speaking of the Rams were a tough out for the Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round last season. So are the Rams legit contenders in 2025?
No, not. If you're asking me.
Yeah, I'm asking you, Rick. I should have
Rick.
said Rick.
Thought you might be looking this direction. No, not Super Bowl contenders. Playoff contenders for sure. But let's look realistically at what they did last year. I know that to Paul's point, they gave the Eagles the biggest push.
Yep.
They were a play away from going to the conference championship.
Yep.
All of that. But bottom line is they were 10-7 during the regular season. They were average on both sides of the ball for the most part, for the better part of the season. And they took advantage of what is not normally a weak division, but was last year. And I don't expect it to be that again this coming season. So when I look at all of the competition in the NFC, the way I frame if you're a Super Bowl contender is, do I feel like you have a really good chance of being back in the conference championship? Are you one of the top 4 teams in either conference? I can't say that about the Rams right now, that I'm convinced that they belong in at the very least, the conference championship. So are they playoff contenders? Could they be as good as they were last year? Sure. But I think that the competition is going to be a lot stiffer. So I'm not putting them in that category.
They're definitely Super Bowl contenders. You don't do this. You don't make this move. You don't try to keep the band back together outside of Cooper Kupp if you don't believe you're Super Bowl contenders. I mean, they have arguably top 3, one of the best head coaches currently in the NFL, and they probably have top 10, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And just having that alone is a very, very integral part in terms of competing for Super Bowls. So as long as those two are there, in my opinion, straight up, they are definitely Super Bowl contenders.
I don't necessarily look, they're legit.
Right.
And I understand what you're saying, Rick, that the division was kind of weird. Arizona started off hot.
San Francisco, load of injuries.
Kind of fell apart. Seattle was whatever.
Yep.
I get all of that. But they were one possession away from playing the NFC Championship game. They gave the Philadelphia Eagles everything they could handle.
Fair.
Much like we say in basketball, Paul, just like we say in basketball, it's all about the postseason. Get into the tournament. Once you get into the tournament, it doesn't matter.
Different ball game.
It's a different ball game. You think about when Will and them won the Super Bowl with the Giants. They were 9-7.
They were 9-7.
9-7, and they went and won the Super Bowl and beat the New England Patriots.
Okay.
So as long as you're in it, that's really all that matters.
But what I'm saying is it's going to be a lot harder to be in it next year than it was for them this year.
And that may be the case, but they're also going to get a lot better by doing some of the offseason things, starting by signing Matthew Stafford back. And you mentioned Cooper Kupp. You mentioned Cooper Kupp, Will. I wouldn't rule out Cooper Kupp coming back to the Rams.
Same.
It's saying, hey, because of the money, because you can renegotiate, he take a little bit less for his role, all of those sort of things. So I wouldn't rule that out just yet. I just wouldn't rule it out, Paul.
Yeah, I just don't like the way they used him last year. I thought he was just he
was hurt too, though.
Yeah, he was hurt. But when he played, they didn't, even in the game versus Philly, they didn't even throw him the ball.
But it's hard to throw him the ball when he basically got Wally Pipp by.
I think they moving on from him though.
Puka.
By Puka. Puka basically took the spot as the number 1 guy.
Yeah, but still, they complimenting. I thought they complimented each other
They
earlier.
do.
Use them, but I like the Rams. You know, I'm a Rams fan.
Well, that's okay.
You know, I'm a Rams fan, and I want them to get some pieces so they can challenge Philly. So, you know,
No,
we'll see.
I think that they're legit. I honestly do believe that they're legit in these situations. They're plus 28 in terms of the odds for the Super Bowl, which is, you know, down there, plus 2,800. Not plus 28, plus 2,800. So they're down at the, you know, middle of the pack, so to
Where
speak.
are they in the NFC in terms of odds?
In terms of odds, I don't know. Let me see. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Come on, man.
They're in the sixth spot
Come on.
in terms of odds.
Like, I mean, the odds makers aren't everything. Like, they set it up to make the most money, not necessarily. But you're sixth in the NFC, and you're going to put them in Super Bowl contention?
Six
like,
is good.
Because
That's
they have been in contention ever since McVay got there.
But six is
we
playoffs, though.
have a different definition of what contention is.
But how
One of
can
6
you?
teams from the conference? Come on.
Yes.
Well,
You don't
if
have,
you
that means you have
remember-
12.
Hey, no,
you have
listen.
12 Super
Where
Bowl
was
contenders.
49ers?
In football,
Where
yes.
was the 49ers before the season started last year?
It was at the top. They was
So
probably
what does
number
that
one,
really?
number two.
What does that really mean?
Okay, as I said,
That's
the
the
odds don't
same-
say
but another
The
thing-
everything.
odds don't say everything.
But another thing that you got to realize when you're dealing with Rick and you're talking to Rick, he's bleeding red
Wait, am I
right
not
now
here?
with the San Francisco 49ers. So he doesn't, you know, it's a Ram shade in these situations because he's a 49er homer.
Right.
That's just the reality
That's why I
of
said,
it.
where were the Rams ranked in the same day, like today, going into the season? They was probably the favorite to go to the Super Bowl at least.
And it's okay, Rick. It's fine. You can show your colors, no problem at all. Stafford,
I'm from the Natty, okay? I may live in the Bay, but I'm from the Natty. The
that's
Bengals are
okay.
my
You're from the
team.
Natty,
I
but
bleed-
you
I
roll,
bleed
you,
orange
but you
and black.
roll with the San Francisco
He's a
49ers.
Sam Wash guy, you know?
Matthew Stafford is staying in L.A., which means there's zero room for Aaron Rodgers on the Rams. Rodgers is a 4-time MVP and one of only 5 active NFL quarterbacks to start and win a Super Bowl. But is it going to be hard for Aaron Rodgers to find a landing spot this offseason? What you think, Will?
I think it is, because right now he's at the point in his career where it has to make sense all around. I'm not just trying to go to a team where I can keep playing and trying to find an opportunity. I need to go to a situation where I can essentially redeem my last 2 years and get back to where I was. And it's very slim. So in this case, it's like, to me, I'm looking at all the teams. It's Raiders or nothing. You know, if it don't make sense for the Raiders for him to go there, I think Aaron just shuts it down.
Yeah, I don't think Pete Carroll gonna want that though. Pete Carroll in his locker room, and Chip Kelly too. They gonna want somebody they can kind of, you know, have fall in line, so
Right.
to speak, and
Like play within the culture, the
play within
win
culture.
forever
Yeah,
Pete
because
Carroll
one of the
culture.
things that they're trying to do is they're trying to get it right with the Raiders. They're not trying to mess around. They want something right. 1 year, 2 year guy that got all type of issues in the locker room and off the field. Do you really want to bring that into a new environment and a new culture? It's going to be hard for him to find a landing spot. But if there'll be somebody out there, Paul, that says, I've always liked Aaron Rodgers. I think he's better than what we have. And I know you're looking at the quarterbacks, right? And you're sitting there saying, well, where could that be? Mm-hmm. But there's somebody. I promise you there's going to be somebody.
It looks like the well is drying up on him, on Aaron Rodgers. And the only scenario I can really see, since you put it that way about the Raiders and the culture that Pete is trying to change, maybe the Giants, because maybe if you talk, you got, like, listen, wherever Aaron Rodgers goes, there have to be a long conversation about can you help nurture our young guy, especially if it's the Giants, if they bring in a Cam Ward or a Shador? Can you be like a mentor? Like, will you be willing to even maybe not start? These conversations got to be had.
Yeah, you bring Cam and Shador, they're playing now. You bringing any one of those two in, they're playing.
Well, I'm trying to think back now. Think about the Giants and a young quarterback and bringing in one of those two in Aaron Rodgers. First of all, the Giants had a whole season look across the river at him. So they already know what he is.
Right.
They've been playing the same stadium,
they're
same
desperate.
city. They already kind of know what that is. But I go back to Kurt Warner when Eli was drafted. The difference is Kurt Warner doesn't have that personality or the way Aaron Rodgers.
The baggage that he brings.
Okay, you want to call it baggage? Baggage.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that baggage. So it was easier for Kurt Warner to take, as a Super Bowl winning MVP quarterback, to take a step back and give way to a young pup like Eli Manning in the middle of the season. I mean, it was much easier to do that than Aaron Rodgers.
This is the mistake that Aaron made, is that he made it known that he'd like to play for the Rams. That tells me what his interest is, which is I want to be on a team that's playing for something.
And he wanted to bring Devontae Adams along with him.
Yeah, but it was and I'm dangling Devontae Adams along with myself in order to get to the Rams, and they said,
well, you better come with something.
Now we got okay, but the fact of the matter is, the Rams said, no, we're good.
But here's the thing: if
you're the Giants, how do you suddenly go, oh, he's going to come in and mentor somebody? That's not where Aaron Rodgers is at this point in his career.
I would say if there's anyone that knows how to handle big personalities, it is Pete Carroll. Like, I was on that 2013 team during the offseason, and, I mean, you couldn't find a more wild group of characters on that Seahawks team. And so I just feel like if there's somebody who's in there who would do that, it would be Pete Carroll. And Pete would bring him in, but here's the thing. Aaron's still going to have to earn his job with Pete Carroll. That's because that's how he rolls. So he might bring in Aaron, and he still might, if he's in position to bring in a Shedeur or somebody, it will be open competition, and he will have no problem moving on from Aaron if Shedeur ends up being the guy.
Just like he did with Matt Flynn.
Matt Flynn and Russell.
Do you think after his experience, the last quarterback Pete Carroll had was Russ Wilson, and what he went through with him at the end? Do you think he's willing to say, let me invite Aaron in. Let me go through that again.
Because he's going to go through it again with Russell Wilson, because that's who he's going to get if Pittsburgh moves up off Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson will be in Las Vegas.
And they made up in Seattle at Sherman's Restaurant.
And everything is great. Let's talk about the 50-point performance that Steph Curry put down last night.
50.
The Warriors beat the Magic 121-115 in Orlando off the strength of a 56-point game from Steph Curry. The Golden State Warriors got some reinforcement, just like Draymond Green asked for from Jimmy Butler in that trade earlier this month. Steve Kerr praised Curry's performance last night.
Never ceases to amaze me, man.
So, Paul,
56 on the road.
Can the Warriors make another title run with Steph Curry?
I don't know if they can make a title, but when I watch this, though, I believe that Steph Curry is the best player ever at making bad shots. Like,
degree of difficulty.
Like the shots that, like,
That's a bad shot, though.
That's a bad shot for anybody else in the league.
How's it a bad shot?
Anybody else in the league. Like, he took the 70-footer. That's a bad shot. It goes in.
Yep.
He's the best at making bad shots, better than anyone in the history of the league.
What?
No.
Oh, God, I didn't see that one.
And he needed that.
Look,
That's his shot. That's
17.
That's his shot. That's nobody else's shot in NBA history. You understand, though?
I get it.
Like, that's what makes great players
but how
great,
could we
though.
call that a bad shot, though?
No, not for him.
You got to pull up Paul's bad shots.
That is a bad shot.
Like, that's a bad shot.
Drifting right off one foot. You're not
He's
anybody
at the
else.
elbow. He's pulling to the right.
This is actually a compliment.
Yes.
Like, this is a compliment.
Okay.
Like, that's what I'm saying. But as far as the Warriors making a run at a title, I just don't think they got enough. I think when they traded for Jimmy Butler, I was like, all right, they're for shoo-in for playoffs. That's what that trade, I felt, did for them. Now that I'm watching, the trade is looking kind of like cool, that like Jimmy's fitting in, he's understanding. I think their ceiling is second round, though. I do. I mean,
What are they, the seventh spot right now?
They're in the seventh spot.
Half a game out of six.
Like, if they see Denver, that'll be tough.
Yep.
If they see the
Just
Lakers.
the physical, just draining.
That'll be Lakers, just the size, the physicality that comes with those two teams. It'll be tough on them. And you're going to ask Steph to have to give these type of performances every night.
So let me ask you this, Hall of Famer. But you got Jimmy Butler,
I like
playoff Jimmy over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know he going to rise to the occasion come playoffs, Rick.
Well, Jimmy.
But at least that's what we've seen in the past.
If we're talking, look, and Paul knows this well because he's been through this trip. Like, the farther you go in the playoffs, the deeper your team is tested.
Yes,
like,
of course.
Your first 5, your first 6, you can get through the first round,
Yeah.
maybe the second round. Then those numbers balance out among the great teams.
Right.
And now it's your 7th, your 8th, your 9th player. How good are they and what contribution are they making?
Yeah.
And right now you're looking at a Warriors team that Quentin Post has been a revelation as giving them a stretch big who can knock down threes. Yeah. Brandon Pajemski is coming off the bench. Moses Moody now is your starter at the 2. I just named 3 guys who have virtually no playoff experience. And so when they get to the postseason, this is going to be their first real test. And, yeah, you can make it through the first round. You can be competitive in the second round. But getting to the finals, man, that tests you going 7, 8, 9 deep. And I just look at the lack of experience they have. I just don't think they have enough. I think Steph Curry still has it in him that if you gave him the right team, he could lead you to another title. I'm just not convinced that this is the right team.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I think they would contend just because of the sure fact of having Steph. Like you said, he might have to do that every single night. And my thing is just watching and witnessing, like, he just has that crazy ability, like, once he gets in the zone. And, you know, I just finished watching the Olympic show on Netflix, you know, where Kevin Durant just talked about, like, you can have team chemistry, but you still got to – chemistry is not going to guard Steph.
Yeah.
Like, he's still able to do that. So my thing is, like, yes, it's very difficult. I know over the long period of time, it's going to wear on the older guys, the physicality. Like you said, if they see Denver, if they see L.A., that's going to be taxing to move on. But I just feel like just having Steph, you just never know that he's just liable to go off like that.
But we keep saying Steph. There's other guys.
Jimmy, I forget that Kuminga's coming back.
And Kuminga's coming back. You got experience just in those 4 guys that we're talking about. Kuminga, Steph, Butler, Draymond. They can do enough and get those other young guys that you talk about with lack of playoff experience to move forward. And think about the first and the second round, you getting playoff
But
experience.
he still has to go off, regardless.
Yes, and he has to go off just about every game. This is.
But he's always, for the most part, going to go off. That's just who he is.
But he's not. Like, the Olympics are a perfect example. Like, Steph was not good through those early games. KD was carrying them through those early games. And then in the last 2 games, Steph was Steph, right?
Yeah.
And that, if you, like, through the course of the season...
But it's also, Rick, let's be fair, it's also a different set of rules, different court size, all of that stuff.
I'm just saying on a nightly
the flow of the
basis,
game,
even during the regular season, like,
even during the Celtics.
He can give you a game like that every 3 or 4 or 5 games. He can't give it to you as consistently as he has in the past. And at this point, without... You know, Clay, once upon a time, carried some of that weight. Yeah. He's gone. Draymond's not quite the same player.
Jimmy can carry some of the weight, which he's capable of, but we'll see. I mean, this guy, listen, Key, I said Steph was great at making bad shots, but you not so much good at making bad shots.
Y'all go.
You not so much at making
y'all want to set me up.
Damn.
It's something else.
I knew nothing about this.
You not so much good at making bad shots.
Will, here's the trick to all this.
I'm trying to take the attention off
But wait, here's the trick to all of this, Paul. But wait, here's the trick to all this. I got the keys to the car.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.